I'm very excited.
Yes.
Monique is one of my clients that she's been coming to me for like about a year, right?
Yeah, over a year.
I did her gorgeous hair that you see right here.
Thank you.
Curly, beautiful. You got the color popping.
Yes. Just got the color recently.
Yes, and it's looking gorgeous. I'm loving the lips with the hair and everything. So, yeah, so me and Monique, we always talk about career. We talk about a lot of things. But for some reason, when we get together, we get like so high up, like our higher selves come out.
Yes.
Right?
We end up talking about all the things that we know we're capable of,
yes,
and that we are working on.
Yes. And not for nothing, we are both bosses. Like,
yes.
You guys, if you guys already know me, some of you do on this channel, Curly Culture and Curly and Thriving, because I'm going to display this on those channels and also on YouTube. But there's some people who know me, and then there's some of you guys who don't ever see me because I'm pretty much, this is what me and Monique talk about. I'm not hiding behind anything, but I really let everyone else shine. Like I love the things I do. I love natural hair. I love entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And
you like highlighting other people too.
And I do.
Yes.
I love highlighting other people. I have 4 brothers, no sisters, so I love women. I love highlighting women, supporting women.
Yes.
And I don't know where that came from, but it's always been a thing. And maybe that's why I became a natural hairstylist.
That probably is why.
Yeah, because all I get is a bunch of women coming in. We talk about everything, including with Monique. We talk about a lot of stuff.
And as many people know, the salon can be like a therapy session, especially with you.
Oh my God.
I look forward to our conversations when I do come in. It's just always great to talk about where we are, and your transparency and your honesty is really refreshing as well.
Thank you. Yours too. No, you really like listen to me, and you put in your own, you just know where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So I love chatting with you. And like I said, we always get to a place where we're talking about something that really matters to us. So that's why I really wanted you to come on here with me and have our first pretty much coming out party.
Yes.
We're calling it. Yes. What we have spoken about is just getting out from behind like all of this, supporting other people, which is great, but putting ourselves pretty much
out there where we know we're capable of showing up as the ladies.
Showing up.
Yes, that we know we are behind closed doors in all the spaces that we're in, right? Because I know we can show up in certain avenues, but to really put ourselves out there in all the spaces in we exist, that's what we're working on.
Tell me about where you show up as right now.
Okay, so, I'm working. I work a full-time job. I am a corporate executive, and I enjoy, showing up in the business world. It's something that I really wanted to do. I went to school for it, and I loved it. Kind of got into it for the fashion, if I'm...
Yes.
Yes.
I could tell because, you're slaying.
Thank you. But no, I see powerful women walking, when I was in college. I want to dress powerfully. I want to look like that. And, I think I'm going to go into business. And so I enjoy it. I really do enjoy the business world. But I'm also a writer.
Yes.
I'm a poet. So I show up in those spaces as well.
Yes.
I have my hands in a few things. I'm a real estate investor, married, a wife, a mother.
Yes.
So I am, finding ways to show up a little bit more consistently across everywhere that I am. Because if you knew me from being a mom, you wouldn't know that I do anything else. And if you knew me from corporate, you might not know that I do anything else.
That's true.
And likewise in the poetry circles or writing circles, you may not know that I do anything else either.
Yeah.
So how can I show up more of myself in that full existence everywhere?
That's pretty much one of our topics today, because I feel that that's what we talk about.
Right.
Because I think that's honestly, that's honestly where a lot of women have, or people overall, when they are doing things for themselves and they're navigating new things or they're navigating all the hats they wear,
Yes.
how do they not have like this, they call it
the identity crisis?
Identity crisis, or
because that's what I feel.
Or like even imposter syndrome sometimes, right?
Yes.
Because when you're showing up in another arena, like no one knows you're this, and they really don't know how powerful you are since they don't know that you're a mom.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know that, all the things,
right?
Right? And I think that happens to me a lot.
Yes.
It happens to me because first off, when I show up in most places that I just hang out, I seem to look younger than I am. I think that's a black girl thing.
Yes, that is good.
That's a black girl
now.
Yes. We all see the meme that, you may not know how old I am. Yes, the meme.
It doesn't crack.
Yes,
we
yes,
know.
yes. So, as most of you guys know that we show up and we seem younger than we are.
I think also your profession too lends itself
Right.
to people thinking that you might be younger than you are.
Yes. And you just asked me, like my story.
Yes, your story, your existence, all the spaces you show up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So coming from that about people thinking that I'm younger, I feel like I always say this, like I've lived like 3 other lives before this. I've lived like 3 other lives before this life.
Yes.
And the reason I say that is because I actually have children. I have 3 children, and they're all older than people would think they are. My oldest is 24, the middle is 18, and I have a 15-year-old. People would never think that because when I speak to you in the salon or when I go out and I love dancing and all of that, I don't know.
And we love that for you.
The fact that you hear that I have kids that age, you probably would think that I really didn't have a 20-year-old woman life. Like I was taking care of kids. So now that I have time, I go out, I travel, I dance and this and that. So when
you've seen those traveling pictures, you look great doing it.
Thank you.
Yes.
And it's like been a long time coming. So I really delve into that, and when people ask me about my life and they hear about what I do, that I'm a business owner and a mom and all of these things, it's new to them. They wouldn't think that, right? But also all the experiences that we've gained from those other positions in our lives, I feel that we need to bring it out in every place we are. You know what I mean? And stand in that power. And in that, and in that, what's the word?
Like fullness.
The fullness.
Yeah.
There's no, there should be no, I'm going to act this way because I'm in this arena. I'm going to act this way because I'm in this arena. This is what I am and this is where I am.
Yes.
And, unfortunately, some people will see the greatness in you and they think you don't see the greatness in you, and they think you don't, so it's like you let them think that way, but you don't have to. You can show up on your full self.
Yes.
And this is partly why I wanted to do this first episode of speaking about the things that I love speaking about, which that's one of them. I wanted to show up. I'm 43 years old, and I've been married, I have children, I have had businesses, I created online businesses, I created my own apps, like before people were creating them.
I didn't know that.
Yes, outsourced my ideas and had them made, and the people who made like my first app were like, you created this, like you wrote this down. I wrote it in like every point.
What kind of app was it?
It was actually, so this is interesting. Before Style Seat, I had something called Search My Stylist.
Oh.
And back then, this was like probably over 10 years ago. When you were, I'm a hairstylist. When you're working in a salon and you're working for someone, let's say things are okay, and then you realize it's not the right place for you, and you want to leave. It's really difficult for you to leave with the amount of like clients that you've built.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because there was
Some
no
will
social
stay.
media.
Right.
There was no social media. Every time you would leave a salon, they would keep all your information, and no one, don't get caught trying to like tell your clients, this is my number, put it, this is my card, I'm leaving, because then
it's like a non-compete, right? You can't take the clients with you. When you're
and I get it, but that because people, they get it, and some people got it and still took their clients, that's fine. But that was a big deal back then, where it's like you left, your clients couldn't find you, right? So I built this website called Search My Stylist, where stylists could go on there and put their information, where they're located, even what they do, like specific things that they're known for, the products that they use in their salon, everything. And if someone has lost their stylist wherever they went to another salon down the block or in another state or just in another town, they look on that website, and then those people will come up in that town.
Okay.
Right? Now it's like a wide, obviously, premise, but it was definitely something that I thought was needed, and it was sort of like Style Seed and a lot of other things that came out after that, right? So I'll get into another time how, because people are interested in entrepreneurship and how you start different things, and like when you fall and you get up.
Yes.
I'm able to, go through all of that with you guys in next episodes, because I love entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And I love innovation. Like, it's like, I love it. Like Oprah. All of these people that just create new things on like a little thing, and they build something on it. I love all of that. So, but I definitely get into that. But yeah, like I am, the type of person who has done all of these things, and I, I never really tell people about it or show it or anything like that, right? And that's fine, because at some point, right, you realize that the reason why you don't do those things because you're not ready to really
release that.
Yeah.
I think that there are levels to the amount of access people get to you and the fullness of you. So, when you come into a space, a lot of times, for me at least, I'm just like, okay, let me just be a fly on, or let me just be part of the space. Let me just be normal. I just kind of almost want to fit in a little bit coming into a space. And then from there is when I'll be like, grow into that space, and then feel like it doesn't quite fit me anymore, because I kind of shrunk myself to fit the space. And so what I'm working on now is not shrinking myself to fit the space, but like, if I'm dressed like this, I can go into the spaces and not feel like I have to be, grunge because everybody's dressed grungy, right? Or be so laid back and accessible that people can feel like they can just, talk to me and we're equals, right? So there's a lot of power play with it as well that comes into play, the power dynamics in relationships, right? In relationships and in these dynamics.
For anyone who knows or don't know, I love me some Geminis. Okay?
Oh, you do?
I do.
Oh, good.
I do.
That's
I don't know why. I heard why people would hate Geminis, but I love Geminis. You guys are amazingly intelligent. You're fun. You are, like you said, you are able to adapt in any space. And that's one of your things that you do well. And I don't ever think that any Geminis, including you, should think that you are, dimming yourself down just because you're adaptable. That's one thing.
Okay. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
That's a good way to
because
look at it.
That's one of your gifts, right? Because you're able to, just like now, like one of your things is bringing people together, letting people see different points of views, things like that. So you need to kind of like be a fly on the wall and kind of like, make sure you know where everyone is coming from and their
understand
personalities.
people's
so
perspective, how they, and so I can speak to them in their language. That's my superpower. That's your superpower.
So now that you know that, you know from your point of view, you can like amplify that, or kind of like let some others shine, or bring your what you have to offer out, and I think.
You know what? I'm so glad you said that, because I did know that was like my superpower, right? Like being able to understand people's perspective and speak to them from their lens and point of view, and that I'm adaptable. But I did not make the connection with the dimming, right? Because I was kind of almost a little bit condemning myself about being so relatable, adaptable.
Yes.
Because it's hard sometimes you might lose your own sense of identity and self in being a sounding board for everyone else or trying to understand everyone else. So, but it's so great that you made that connection and saying that it's not actually a negative, right? That you shouldn't,
because
see
not
it
everyone could
yourself.
do it,
right?
Right. Not everyone could do it, and I if you guys, you probably know that, or you guys don't know me who are watching, but I'm into zodiac signs and lots of things like that.
All the spiritualities.
As you can see in my background, I've actually opened this crystal shop recently, late last year. I made part of my salon. We're in my salon right now, Curly Culture Salon in Long Island. And I have this section where I love crystals. So I made a crystal shop, and it has all the good vibes, right? And also the reason why I even started this is because I started some body oils with crystals and them and this and that. And it's part of when I was on lockdown, I can't stop being an entrepreneur, so I had to do something.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't been as much into any of, the crystals and astrology and all of that, but every time I talk with you, you're like dropping your knowledge.
The Gemini tips, because I know she's a Gemini, and I really get along with Geminis. I love that, like I said, they have all these great qualities. So that is we all should look at our qualities and see what we, like you said, condemn ourselves about, which is just a natural thing.
Right.
That is a gift, right? And if we look at it from a point of view of like 100% this way, you're going to see it 100% this way. If you just look at it, you kind of have to balance it out.
Absolutely.
So, So, one of your powers, like I said, is just kind of bringing people together and letting people see different points of view and this and that. And I thought, with this, us coming together, it would be great for that, of course. So I told that to you. I spoke to you about that. So.
Yes. So then if that's my superpower, what is your superpower?
Oh my God. So I'm a Scorpio, everyone. And I feel like we get a bad rap too. Just like Geminis. I feel like we do.
Know.
And I mean, I've heard it from different people, but I know the reason why I may have a bad rap or Scorpios have a bad rap is because we are also like a catalyst. Just like you're like a sounding board, I'm a catalyst for if there is an issue within someone that they're battling, it will kind of come out when they're around me.
Oh, so you've been working magic on me. So that's what's been happening every time I come to this one. I thought I was just coming for my wash and go, my color, just get a little something done.
Oh my God.
And here you are.
Where's our
working your superpowers on me.
And I really think that's what happens with Scorpios. Like, whether they know it or not, people that walk into their lives, and it doesn't have to be for a long time, but when they have a connection with someone, short or long, there's always a situation where maybe that person sees a part of them through that Scorpio that they're like, okay, that's something that I didn't know that I needed to look at. You know what I mean? And mostly why we have a bad rap is because some of those things people don't want to look at.
Okay.
And, then it becomes, it's the Scorpio. It's their fault. Like, this thing happened to me.
Yeah.
And that Scorpio was there when it happened. So it's them. I can't deal with that.
Kind of like the Gemini hate, where it's like, they were adaptable. So like, they were different different person over here than they are over here. And like, how can I be friends with this person? Because we need to be friends with all of us. Right? All 17 of us. We need to be
I thought it was two. What happened?
I don't know.
You guys are twins. You guys are twins, but now that you're bringing that up, now I know. Now I know. It makes sense. So you guys are so adaptable that you're here over, in another situation, you're just flourishing and blooming, and we're like, okay, like what happened to our situation?
Yeah. That's what I hear, at least, that people don't like Geminis because they're fake or two-faced.
I don't think that's it. But let me tell you something about Geminis. You're the only sign for me as a Scorpio that could see me. Like, see me. Like, see me for who I am and what, not that necessarily that you use it.
No,
sometimes
but I mean, can other people do it too? Like, so that's the thing with astrology and with signs and horoscopes and everything, is that I feel like sometimes it's limiting. Like, you said that I can see you, but like, what about people that are Pisces or Sagittarius? Like, none of them can see you. Okay, I feel like everyone's kind of unique.
So I'm not gonna get it.
We won't get into it.
I don't want any Pisces or Sagittarius. I can only speak from my dynamic, right? Because
that's true.
My dynamic, being a Scorpio with the Pisces, we have a dynamic, right?
Okay.
And Sag and a Pisces has a dynamic. It's never the same, right? So let's say you and a Sag. A Sag is not going to be like, well, I see, a Gemini just sees me, Okay. A Sag.
But one of my best friends is a Sagittarius. Right. And I see her, and she sees me.
Okay, good. Because I feel, so I don't know how your dynamic is with a Sag or anyone else, but let's say, you have another, like a Libra or somebody, or even a Sag. They may just like see you as, or you may get like sparkly eyed with them and don't even like see anything. Okay. You're just having fun, right? Because
I see.
some signs throw sparkle at you because they're like, they're fire signs. They're just, and air signs. I know, air signs.
Okay, this is interesting.
Air signs. Air signs love a fire sign, right? They just think they're so, energetic and,
all like captivating, mesmerizing.
Yes, captivating. Like they love it. They love all the fire. So that's what I call like throwing glitter at.
Like a moth to a flame burned by the
fire.
Right.
And you're like, you're happy and you're joyful when you're around this person. So you don't necessarily see everything.
Yeah.
Until it comes out later, and then you're like, okay, something, is out, whatever, right?
Got it.
So that's what I mean by the seeing. So the dynamic between different signs is definitely different.
Okay. I got it.
But I didn't do voodoo on you.
No. I know.
It's just a natural thing.
Yes.
It happens.
It's a natural thing.
Yes. And I think also, not that I want to stay on signs forever, but Scorpios they're also very intelligent, intellectual. Mm-hmm. So some, not intellectual, just like they love mental stimulation. And you guys do too. Yeah. So we kind of like vibe off of
That's why we're always talking about big picture things.
Big picture stuff.
Yes.
But getting back to that.
Yes.
How do you feel about what I said about like taking when we speak, we get to our higher self?
Yes.
Because I always feel that when I speak with you.
I feel the same way. We leave, I'm going to say we leave the salon. I leave the salon. You're still here. But when I leave, we are always at like a high.
Yes.
We are like so convinced of what we need to do. We're so clear too. I feel like we have a lot of clarity coming out of our conversations on what we need to do. And for example, recently we had spoken about, I don't know if it was this last visit or the one before that, but about being in different spaces. And like leveling up even the people that we surround ourselves and trying to not to say that we need to level up our friends or anything like that. Like obviously we need friends in different spaces, but saying like maybe we should also extend our networks beyond what we're used to and start to mingle in circles that maybe we felt almost that imposter syndrome, but like that we're a little bit not, shy away from or uncomfortable in, but kind of going past that discomfort and making connections with other entrepreneurs, other business leaders.
Yes.
And really also, expanding that.
In what you're saying, I'm glad you bring that up, but because we do a lot of making people comfortable and taking care of, people in all aspects, right? Bringing them up to a certain level. And, I do that a lot, right? I live in a place where it's comfortability, right?
Yeah.
I live in a place where I'm going to make you comfortable enough to see a certain thing, right? And when you're living in that place of like comfortability for other people, it's also the same for you. You're living a place of comfortability for yourself. And you kind of want to say to yourself, or I felt it was time for me to say to myself, okay, you want a certain thing. You want to be on a certain level when it comes to yourself. Right? And meaning you have to shift your energy or I think it's your energy or your aura to another level where it is attracting the things you want and attracting the level of the things you want.
Right? The right level of it.
Right.
How did you get to that point though, of knowing that you needed to level up per se?
A lot of stuff.
Because I think there's so many times when we can just wake up and just kind of be like, you know what, this doesn't fit anymore. These relationships don't feel right. Like I feel like I'm living smaller than what I see myself as. What did it take for you to get to that point where you're like...
Can I tell you?
Right.
It's been happening for years, and I just was like, I just have to go through these stages first before I get there. I know God is going to bring me there.
Yeah.
So I just have to go through. I was just telling someone recently, first of all, I get bored.
Yes.
Okay?
Oh, I know.
I get bored, but it's so funny when I get bored is when things are happening. Like things will be happening in my life. Things are happening in my, not new things per se. Just
but like you're doing well and you get bored at that.
Yeah, I'm busy. I have my kids going on. It's Christmas time, and then I'm doing my thing, and then I'm like, I'm bored. That happens to me, and it's happened to me so much. So when that happens, I'm like, okay, I need to go on vacation, right? And I go on vacation, and it's awesome, but I'm there with myself, and I'm loving it. I'm looking around, but when you go on vacation, you're still the same person you are on vacation, which is great.
Yeah.
I love it. I love being by myself. I love myself, but also there's just a moment on vacation when if you're by yourself, when you're with yourself for maybe 2 days more than you ever were with yourself for that amount of time.
Okay.
Like let's say, you've never been by yourself for more than 3 days.
Yeah.
And
on vacation you'll have an extra couple days past that.
And then
this is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you're like, oh, okay, now my brain is clear enough to know why I'm here, to know what's supposed to be like downloading, what answer am I here to get? Right? And you're you're there and you're like, yes, like I needed this rest and but I feel big. I feel like this person that needs to do this bigger thing, right?
Yeah.
So then you get refreshed, whatever, right?
Right.
And then you come back and you're doing what you're supposed to do. You hit your goals that you're supposed to hit that month, all of this, and you get back on the rigmarole.
Yeah.
Then you get bored again, and it happens again, but you're not doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing. You're getting that sign, you're getting that feeling, that download.
Yeah, okay.
And that's partly one reason why I'm here. But since I started my career as a hairstylist, I would be in different, places, workplaces, and I would look at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, I'm seeing myself. Like I'm me. I'm Liz, right?
This is Liz.
I'm a beautiful Black woman.
Yes.
And I'm showing up dressed. And I look at myself and I look at what's going on around me, right? And then I'm like, am I supposed to be here?
Yes.
Have that ever happened to you?
I have those moments quite often. Now, I have never done a solo vacation where it's been like for a longer period of time, like 4 days or something like that, where I would get to that point that you talked about. Because a lot of the times I get to the point of relaxation. But what happens to me about the like, why am I here? Or like, this is not the right place for me to be, is usually, I would say, at the opposite end of the spectrum. So like when I'm burnt out, like I am burnt the F out. I've given a lot of energy towards a particular goal. I'm an all or nothing person, so I'll be going in. And then I'll just kind of sit back and be like, for what? Like, is this really what I want?
Right.
Because I'm so accomplishment focused that I get on a project and will just keep going and then look around and be like, is this really the space that I want to be in? Is this really, once I'm at the crash and burn level is when I'm like looking again at the space. Like, do I need to be here? This is probably too small for what I'm trying to do.
And I think that happens to me too.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like crash and burn, which is, a thing for a lot of people. But for me, it's because it's one of the things that I do, right? I make everybody's life better, right? Yes. I come into a salon, going back to what I was saying when I used to work in my first salons and stuff, I come into the salon and I give my gifts that I bring, right? I'm the youngest African-American woman in the salon, and I'm like, they have me there for a reason. They're including me because of that's how I look. Then not only at that, I'm great at what I do. Yes. I'm a great speaker, a talker. I'm respectful, right? So I add all of these qualities to someone else's business, and then I get bored. I'm like, okay, I did that, but what about me? Where am I going with this? Because people are not necessarily thinking about you the way you think about yourself, right? Because you want what's best for you. Some people might mostly want what's best for them, including you, right?
I can resonate with that, absolutely. I think about it even with the corporate context, right? Like you go into a job and you're doing it and you're doing the work for the person, but then at a certain point, and I've had to take career breaks in order to get this clarity, but like I'll go back into it and say, okay, I'm going into this situation because I want to get this out of it. And get clarity on what my expectations are for that particular role or opportunity, and go after that experience. So I do get bored in that way as well, where it's like I'm not growing, I'm not learning, I'm not stretching in the way that I want to. I've done the project or the thing that I got here for, and now I'm a little bit bored. And so if I can't find the opportunity to do it within this space or this context, trying to find a way to do it in another context is what I end up doing.
And then also, I don't know if you've ever been here, it's like you've always seen yourself at a certain place. Because you have a dream for yourself, of course, that you already do. Your poetry, your books, right?
Yeah.
And so you've seen yourself in that space before.
Yes.
Right? And you've been, giving yourself to other spaces and people and things, which is great. And it gives us all of the things, right?
Yes.
It gives us all of the things that we're going to need to have when we're at this level, right?
That's so true.
Because at this level, people will be, things, outside things, will be throwing things at you to get you off of that place. But
that's how life is.
That's how life is. That's how life, goes.
All the distractions.
All the things. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. There's also people who do it to you. They'll try to bring you down from your level that you have fought to go to, right? And not only that you have fought, some of us don't even want to fight for it. It's God who wants us to be in that position, and we're like trying not to do it, and He's pushing us to do it, and then we are uncomfortable, and we need to get out of that uncomfortable stage. That's the only way we do what God tells us to do.
That's
right?
true.
So it's not like we're fighting to get up there. God wants us to be there, or whatever you guys call it, the universe. God wants us to be there. So we have actually fought ourselves, fought everything, and then we got here, right?
Yeah.
So getting here, we've done the work. So when someone is like, okay, no, and they throw something at you or whatever comes to you,
Yeah.
that can't knock you down since
No.
that is this position that you were meant to be in, right? So,
but you have to know that. Like
Yeah.
you have to know that, because otherwise when people try to knock you down or try to redirect you in a different way, you may think that it's good for
not
you,
good.
that
Yeah.
you should pursue it, but you have to know kind of your assignment or your, I hate to overuse purpose, but like the direction.
I don't think we've used it yet.
We haven't used it,
And
but
we
it's overused in life. I feel like a lot of
And
people
we
talk
should.
about purpose a lot, but like I have a pretty good clarity on the type of work that I need to be doing, and the type of like how I pour into people, the types of people I pour into, and like I know that. The other thing I know is that I'm good at a lot of things.
Yes.
And that's a challenge. When you are good at a lot of things,
Yes.
staying focused on the assignment and where you're supposed to go becomes a challenge.
Tell me what you're good at.
I mean, we talked about a few of them. But like I'll tell you, I'll give you just a quick tidbit. Like I was in the pandemic, you know, I published my book Home for Hurricanes.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I was writing the poetry, I published the book, I was speaking, I was doing speaking engagements, I started drawing and digital, like on my iPad and things, and I started putting out the artwork. And so it's like I'm doing all of these things thinking like, okay, well maybe this is something I should be doing. And also money gets in the way as well. If you're thinking about generating money, you get your hands in a lot of different projects.
Yes.
So that's what I found myself doing. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll sell my art, I'll sell my books, and then I was like abandoning my business life. I was like, oh, I'm not going to do that right now because I'm focused on these things. And then I say, okay, well, you know what? I'm really good at diversity, equity, and inclusion. Let me go back and do that work. Let me start speaking on those topics. And so I'm like dibbling and dabbling in everything. And
but I feel like that also gives you, you know, your experience.
Yes.
Right?
It does.
What to do, what not to do.
It does. It's all of it is
a
learning experience. But sometimes you have to remember like that these things can also become a distraction to the main thing. Like I knew I was supposed to be selling the book and working on the book and really pushing that out far more than I did at that time. And I had to refocus and say, okay, now I need to get back to that, because all of this other stuff was just projects. Like I can do everything well, but I can't do everything at the same time.
Well, you know?
Right.
Yes.
So
I definitely agree, you know, or I understand where you're coming from with that, you know. But what you were saying, needing to know that your purpose, right?
Yes.
So purpose, you know, we don't want to flip over the place, but that's one of the reasons why we're speaking about this too, right? So I don't want people to get mixed up. Like purpose, you have a few in your life, you know? Being a mom is your purpose. Being a mom is my purpose. Like no one, you know, is going to tell me that the kids that I've made or, you know, brought into this world is not my number one focus to have successful children and, you know, happy kids. Like I'm a mom. And that's one of my purpose. But another one of my purpose is just kind of flowed into my life is, you know, being there for women. Like, and people can just say, oh, you're a hairstylist, you know? But honestly, me being a hairstylist is secondary to the fact that I get to speak to people and women, right? And no matter their perception of me, it's still one of my purposes to have good vibrations, positivity, and lifting, you know, a woman up, just like I would want to be, right? Yes. So that's one of my purposes. And, you know, when I used to look at myself in the mirror back then and be like, okay, I'm here, but I know this is not, you know, it. That was getting me ready for this bigger purpose, right? Which is, you're going to get to a place where you're comfortable enough to speak to people and do your work and get paid for it and create a space where it's comfortable, you're going to get to a space of that, going through all of these things. And every time you stop and look in the mirror and see yourself and be like, okay, I'm in this space, but I'm supposed to be in this space. You're getting there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, even recently I looked in the mirror and I'm like, okay, I want to do this. I'm ready to go in this space.
Right.
I'm ready to be in front of a camera. I'm ready to be in front of the world. Because, there's lots of people who probably think like, oh, being on social media or being an influencer and all of that is like the greatest thing. Everybody gets to know you and this and that. But I've always been the one who was like, oh, I don't want anyone to I don't want anyone to really see me like that, because I'm comfortable with not having to deal with really extra. I have enough going on. But now I'm ready for whatever is coming to me by putting myself out there, putting my face out there, because I've been getting ready and I'm happy with, who I am and where I am right now.
That makes sense. And I love what you said about purpose and how it's been changing, and like your purpose now with women and helping women. I have an interesting, take on purpose. So
I would love to hear it. I'm ready.
I happen to think that everyone has the same purpose.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is that I think everyone's purpose is to love others well. And I think, because I had a hard time thinking about purpose and reconciling it with class, right? Like if you're working class and if you're in a job that you hate and all this, and you're saying like, oh, is this your purpose? Or I need to go after my purpose, or like your purpose is something that you're not doing right now. But what I find, and what it's held true, at least in my experience in talking with people, is that if everyone's purpose is to love others well, right? Then it doesn't matter what space you're in, technically, it evolves with you, right? So whether you're a hairstylist and you're in a salon and you're loving others well in the unique way that you can and that you are designed to, and that's what you do in your salon,
lead with
right?
love,
you're leading with love,
or do everything with love, right?
Absolutely.
And let me just add one thing to that, because I've been through the hard part of that, right? And the hard part of that is when you don't love yourself, it's hard to love other people and
That's
lead
true.
them,
That's
right?
true.
And not that I'm saying, I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but I think everyone has been through a part of their life where they don't love themselves, or they don't see, what God sees.
Yes.
Right? So
I think we still don't see what God sees.
Well, we ain't never seen the full picture. Because if we saw the full picture, we would be light. We would be light right now. I would just be shining light all
right. They wouldn't even be able to see us.
Right. Because honestly, what we think about ourselves and what, is literally what is coming out of us, right? When we think about ourselves, what we feel, what we believe comes through us and goes through our heart and like goes right back out, right? So there was a time in my life where, it was hard to see all of my, I wouldn't even take it so personal. It was just, you don't feel as like great and like people love me and all of this stuff, or just comfortable, just comfortable in your skin, right? And you always finding a thing like, what bothers you, not necessarily about yourself, but how you come out to the world, right? How you go about in the world. You find something about yourself that is not like other people, how they do it so well. And that's partly the whole, I don't love myself, I don't want to say comparison. I don't want to say love yourself, because you do. Like I don't want people to be like, oh, you do love yourself. Of course, you want the best for yourself. Of course, you want great things for yourself. But those things that you look at other people and say they do it better than me. It's all you have to be like, okay, no, because no one is going to tell me. If I say that, no one is going to actually tell me like, oh, you actually do it just the way you're supposed to do it, and it's great, right? Only your grandma.
Right?
No one.
That was gonna say, baby, you're doing a great job.
You know, but when you're alone, when you're the few times, the 10 times you've told yourself, no, I don't do it well, and that one time that you need it back, you know, who's gonna tell you that 10 times? You need like 20 times to erase the 10 times, you know? So that, what you just said about loving people or loving, you know, that's our purpose. That's why I think people may have, or I may have had in the past, I didn't know what my purpose is. Like if you ask a young person, what's your purpose? I don't know. Like, I want to find it, you know?
That's true.
And it's all of that insecurity. Yes.
And then as you grow in that, you know, you think about people that have such dynamic presence and things, it's because they're growing in their own self-love.
Yes.
And then they're able to then live out their purpose more fully.
And if you see children, little children, that are living their purpose, loving everyone around them, showing that light, they have no problems with themselves.
Right.
So it comes, you know, it really comes from
the socialization and like environment. And then not loving yourself and all the messaging that you're getting throughout your life that then you have to deprogram. So you start off with it as a child, then you lose your way, and then you get it back as you start to love and understand truth about yourself and who you are. And, you know, not every child is going to have that extra thing, right? Because sometimes they're not ready. Like sometimes their time is not there yet. Some children, I know this is getting deep into that, but some children, it's their time already. Yeah. And they teach their parents. They teach everyone around them how to be this person that is, you know, just not selfish, just selfless, loving, you know, and everyone sees the fruits of that coming out of them, and they get taught. But some kids, of course, they start by not knowing, they have to learn and this and that, and then it's their time to, you know, fulfill a certain purpose. We all have timing. This is why you can never be down about yourself if you're not at a certain place. Oh my gosh, the timelines, right? Yes. Yes. The timelines of life. Yes. Oh God. I know we could get into all of these things. I know. There's so many places. For I think almost an hour now. But before we go, I did want to talk about friendships. Yes. And relationships with friends. Yes. Our topic for today that we didn't even get to touch on, and I think that's going to be like another 30 minutes, is friendships, right? Yes. And specifically, I wanted to talk about female friendships. Yes. Because when Monique comes in, usually I'd be like, Monique, I saw this thing on Instagram, and we would just start talking about it, right? So recently, I saw something on Instagram. It was from actually like two women talking for a podcast, right? And they were talking about being friends and how they are in a situation with each other where they want each other to experience, like, I guess, sexual pleasure, but they're not together. They want their friend to I know you didn't know it was going this way. This is the after hours talk. Excuse me. Put the kitties to bed. This is the after hours. Now, what were you watching on Patreon? I mean, Instagram. I can't say the podcast. I don't want to put anyone out there, but it's pretty popular. Oh. But the lady, she's a popular Instagram personality, and she has a podcast, right? And she brings different people, and she talks about sex, and that's you know, it's a sex podcast. Okay. Yeah, she talks about all types of different relationships and things like that. Also, it's not just like, you know, it doesn't have to be kinky. Yeah, but this specific thing stood out to me with female friendships because I was looking at it, and I was looking at the two women speak, right? And they were speaking about being friends. And they were speaking about how the situation that they were in, they were like
there for their friend to have this, situation. But the way they were sitting and talking about it, they were sitting against, like, say we're in this, frame together, and we're talking about this. One of them was like crossing their arms and like this, and the other, like, say you were like leaning away.
Away.
Both leaning away.
So they were both like this.
Yes. So one of them was like this in their lap, leaning away from that friend.
So the body language was distant.
Yes.
Okay.
And the other one has her arm like this, leaning away.
Okay.
And she was like giving the other one a look while the other one was talking. So if you're looking at me right in this thing, you would see me just giving Monique the look while Monique is explaining
that I'm here for my friend and her sexual exploration.
So
and I'm really here for her in her sexual exploration.
But you're like this.
Yes.
And I'm looking at it, and I guess it triggered something in me because I was looking at it with the mute off. The mute on, right? I didn't know what they were talking about. I was just scrolling. I saw the page. I'm interested. I'm a Scorpio, so I'm interested in
it looked like they didn't
sex talk. So
that's what I knew about Scorpios. Getting back to that conversation. But we won't go there.
Right? Next time. We have a lot to talk about. Depression, sex talk, all of these things. Right? But that I was like scrolling and I found it and I'm looking and I see the body language first.
Yes.
And then of course there's a moderator, the lady that's in charge of the podcast, and she's laughing and talking and looking at them. Okay. So I'm like, okay. So then I read what's underneath and it was saying, these friends are there for each other. Are you there for your friends the way that these friends are there for each other? Right? Okay. So I listened to what they were talking about, and they were talking about the situation where, this was happening and they were there for each other, not together, but they had a partner that was a male and he was making sure he pleased them, whatever.
Wait, one person?
One guy.
Okay. This is above my pay grade.
So the thing is, I'm okay. Like, this doesn't sound weird to me.
Right.
I don't know why. Like,
because
this
I don't sound weird to you. We know why.
Maybe the reason, my reasons why it doesn't sound crazy to me allowed me to zoom in on something else.
Got it.
Which is the dynamic
of the relationship. You're not even here for the fact that they were sharing the man.
Cute. Okay. They haven't done that. Okay. So.
But these friends are really not friends.
They don't seem like friends. Okay. So I'm not saying they're not friends. They don't hang out. They don't do things together. But
we've had those friends.
See how we don't hang out all the time and this and that, but our energy is open.
Yes.
Right? We're not holding back things and giving us the side eye and this and that. And if that was going on, there would be a reason.
Right.
So then you're looking at what's the reason they're like this.
And I'm thinking it's the man. I mean, I don't know anything about the situation.
So the man, it was a random guy in like another country. They went on vacation. It was a random guy. Okay. Or maybe it was someone they knew. Who knows? But they said, I know this guy and this our country. And I told him about our situation. We just wanted to be pleased. And that's it. We're not giving. He's just giving. And that's it. So I heard the situation. That was that. I thought it was just a random guy. I don't think. Oh my God. So, but that's a good point. Do women get, do they get I don't know, the lack of a better word, I guess, catty or whatever, when there is a man in the middle, can a friendship get ruined if there's a man that they both know? Obviously, we know that, right? But if they just kind of met this man and they have this situation going on, will that mess up their friendship?
I say 100%.
That could be the reason why this is happening. I think that's the reason.
Without even knowing this story, this is my first time hearing it. But I think that's the reason, because I'm just I don't know. And whenever there's that third person dynamic, even if it's friends and there's a new friend that comes into the best friend picture, there's still that dynamic of, okay, that's my friend, and then there's a little bit of tension in between.
Why are friendships like that?
I don't know why they're like that.
Because I'm going to keep it 100%. I like to be on my own in the world. And
you know what? No friends.
I love women. I love to talk to.
Yes.
You know, I love men. Love to talk, have conversations. Love to have friendships. Like,
yes.
you know, I've had, I guess, a couple of men in my life that I loved as friends, even though they don't look at me like that.
Mm-hmm.
And women that, you know, I like yourself. Like I vibe with, I get along with. A lot of women that come into my salon, I vibe with. You know, and you know. I could say they're my people. But when it gets to a certain place where we're like, oh, we're friends and we're besties and this and that, it's like an attachment issue. And I think that's like that may be an illusion, right? An illusion, the attachment to someone is like an illusion of like, you own them and you know what I mean?
Yes.
And then that comes into your relationship, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about the girls again, right? They're friends. They've been together. I don't know how long they know you, but they look pretty, you know, they said that they were friends, right? So they have what do you call it? A title. Yeah. We're friends.
Right.
You know? I don't know if they're best friends, but they're good friends. So that title is already there, right? Meaning like, okay, we have to like the same things. Do we? Do we?
I don't think so.
Okay. But it's like if we hang out, it's like almost like you have to kind of like
some things in common.
Yes. We
enjoy together.
So it could be, it's just like when you're with your high school sweetheart, then you start to grow in life, right? And you start to realize that I'm interested in this. And if you bring it up, they're uncomfortable because you never brought it up before, right? It's the same thing with, I think, sometimes friendships, female friendships, the attachment and the label. It's like, I have to not like the same person you don't like. And I have to, you know, so
there's rules to this.
And, you know, I think that's a little toxic.
I can see where you're going with this. I will say that I have been someone who was very much like, I don't have female friends. Like in my 20s, teens, I had a really hard time with girls in general, just growing up the way that I did in the neighborhood that I grew up with. And it was just like, female friends are just, girls
I feel like
a lot of people have that experience.
Including myself in a way. You know what I mean?
Yes.
In a way. And in my older, like, my 5 months ago self, a year ago self, my year ago self, it's like, you know, whatever, right? But I've grown since then when it comes to, you know, women and what they,
and
if I'm dealing with a woman. If I'm dealing with a woman.
A full grown.
And if we're at the same place, they're mature, they see things, right? They're emotionally intelligent. If I'm dealing with that type of woman, I feel it kind of safer.
Absolutely.
Right? But if I'm dealing with someone who's not emotionally very intelligent and is very, you know, all of the stuff that's down here, right? I don't like that.
Well,
I don't like that.
This is what happens with me. For that same reason, I shed friends like frequently. Like people have friends that they've been best friends with since like elementary or high school or even college. I tend to get new friends wherever, like at the stage of life that I'm in. So it could be mommy friends, it could be work friends. Like that's the kind of person that I am, and I don't get too attached either. Now that might be some other type of issue. Attachment issue from some other trauma, but I don't. I don't.
Tell me why you don't get too attached.
Well, one, I
agree. I agree because I have the same. You know, like
I feel like
everyone should have free reign.
I think
in their
what
life.
you said about the bound, like the commitment of a friendship. And it's probably bad. I mean, we should probably have more friends. I don't know, but I feel like the commitment, this is how we get into these conversations, right? Let's talk about it. Because I feel like when I commit to a friend or like being best friends or something like that, then it's like, then I feel almost obligation to do certain things or not do certain things or to tell you about certain things or not tell you about certain things. Yes. And I don't want that. Like I just want to enjoy you when I'm around you, and then when we're not around each other.
Right. And who said you're ready for that? Who said you've even come in, that there's not a part in the relationship where you're going to feel like that person already knows what's going on with you, right? Because we get to a stage and like if the relationship lasts long and things have been good, right? Everybody's been kind of like taking it slow and, you know, just being mature and, you know, mentally stable throughout the relationship and just trying to be open, right? Just trying to be open. We're human. Maybe we weren't as good as friendships, but we're trying and we're doing it. At a certain point, you get to a place where that person knows you. They know what's going on with you. They know that things that you're not okay with. Yeah. You know, the energy, you know, that you're not specifically going to feel. Like, let's say they have other friends that are into certain things and, you know, they're inviting that friend to something. They're probably going to know that you're probably not going to like all the stuff that, you know, this person is going to talk about. So they'll, you know, probably let you know what's going on. And, you know, so I think what I'm trying to say is that at a certain stage, maybe there's a place for that. But in this society that we're living in as adults, finding friends as adults, I'm not sure if we give each other enough space and time to even get to that stage. I think we keep each other kind of like, you know, to that place where we're not attached, and we're not doing too much. We're like, you know, we're I do respectful.
I like respectful.
That's the best you can ask. Please.
But I do like when I see, you know, women that are friends that are like have like a sisterhood, like they've been best friends, like they know they've been through marriages, they've been through, you know, they're almost like family at that point where it's just like,
you know, family.
I know.
What are we gonna do with these these same friends that you're talking about? They be going for the, you know, the claustrophobic. Like I can't be fully who I am. Because
that's the reason why I don't have a lot of friends, because I grow and I change who I am all the time.
The growth.
And I don't feel like everyone's not coming along that journey with me. It's the growth, right? And it's that really is it. When I said like I shed friends, like there's been like I have a few friends that are solid, you know, I met in college that, you know, we're still good friends. But we do have kind of a distance between us, that a respectful distance. We're not all, you know, commingled in all of our business and stuff like that. But it's that I feel like not, like, it's just, I'm growing and I'm changing and
you want to give yourself that space.
I want to give myself that space. And I had to have this conversation with another friend of mine about getting out of her friend circle that makes her fit. Because your friends can make you feel small. When we talked about leveling up, when you get around people that know you in a certain vein and as presenting as a certain way, it's so hard to break out of that. They will keep you there.
So can I
go ahead.
Stick to what you're about to say. We got it wrote down. The growth and the friendship. But that happened to me today.
No.
Today.
What happened? What happened, Liz? Oh God.
So okay, I used to have my salon in another place, Garden City, for 5 years.
Yes. I went to you there. That's when I first started going to you.
Okay.
So it's been a couple years.
Yeah. So I was 5 years over there and like 1.5 here, right? When I was over there, I have a few clients that know me from there. Mm-hmm. There's one person that knows me from there, and every time she comes to this new place, it's almost like she tries to keep me as the person that was over there.
That Garden City.
Yes. She'll say, you know, like it happened today. Did you get an assistant yet? You know, or you know, stuff like that. Like just
like you're leveling, like you're not there yet.
Yes, like
you're
I'm not
established.
Like I'm not there yet. But you know, I've already explained. The thing is, I don't need to explain what I'm doing in my life. Right. I don't need to explain that my goals and no one knows about this. No one knows about
that. You're expanding in other ways and doing all of these other things.
So how would they know? So it's like, you know, someone always trying to keep you automatically know that's what they're doing because you are going to other places. And they just want to keep you there.
Yeah.
Not that this woman is a bad woman. I actually
no.
I actually, loved her. Like
it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, she's great. Like we had, she's a mom, whatever. Beautiful woman.
It's just who she knew you as.
Yes, it's just the fact that she can't let go of this person
and meet you again.
Yes,
in your current.
She can't meet me at that place.
And it's hard for people to do that.
And I really ignored her when she asked me that. And she asked me again.
She
asked me again. I came over to her chair thinking that she forgot. Yes. She asked me again. And it was my time to really say what I wanted to say. But I just said no. And, I'm going to give her another chance.
Yeah.
Well, another chance when she asked me again.
But she doesn't know that she's doing it.
Like, she asked me again.
She doesn't know that she's wrong for doing that. That she's bringing you down. Right. She doesn't know that.
Yeah, she doesn't.
And your friends don't know that. Your friends don't know that they're doing this to you. But you know how it makes you feel. Like you're not that person anymore. And family will do that to you. If you stay around family too. Because they know you from this and this. And they've seen you grow. They've seen you stumble. They've seen when you fell on a stage or what have you, and so they can't see you as the successful businesswoman, right?
It just means that, and I don't like to say things like, oh, it just means that they're not growing either. I don't like to really say things because everyone is growing.
Yes.
Everyone is growing, but certain times you see certain people doing a lot. Right? They're doing a lot that they need to do because it's their time, right? It's just their time. They have to do it in that space of time.
Yeah.
And then you could see even out and they enjoy the fruits that they built. And then their time comes again if it's in their lifetime, one more time or whatever, right? That's what I believe in. There's other ways of going about that. But yes, I actually went through that today. And to your point, continue the growth.
Yes.
You can't even be a brown friend.
Or you have to know how to keep, because I can maintain friends that know me in a certain way. Yeah. I can maintain the friendship, but they can't be who I'm around all the time. Like that's why it's at a distance, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Right? Because they can't be who you're associating with and talking with all the time. And this almost gets back to the point about like leveling up our circles and things of that nature. It's like when I went back, I was in the pandemic, right? Everyone was home. Everyone was doing whatever they had to do for a while. But when I went back to work and I decided to go back into an office setting and all of this, I realized that I was showing up differently now that I'm back in the world versus when I was at home.
Yes.
And when I was at home, I was around everyone we were all on social media, all the old friends, all the old timelines, and now that I'm back around business people and people that are working, even writers and people that are working on their projects, it inspires me and they say you're like the people that you spend the most time around. And like, if you do really put yourself out there into those environments and stretch outside of that comfort zone, like we were talking about, you do have that opportunity to grow, and then you don't want to hang out with the same people.
No, you can't.
Because it really does hold you back. But I don't believe in abandoning them, though.
You don't abandon them.
Yeah.
Because they're still your people.
They're still your people. They're still assigned to you and attached. And everyone's growing at their pace.
But, getting back to the friends that I saw.
Yeah. Oh, on the Instagram.
Well, yes. I think the growth between them was being stifled because of what they're not saying. Right?
Well, yeah.
What they're not saying. Because
clearly somebody had a problem.
And not necessarily even with that specific situation. I think the control dynamic, the power dynamic, right? Whoever took the power in that relationship, sometimes it could be resented from the other person because they have power too, and they want to display that, or you know what I mean. They're their own person. You can't just put your beliefs on your friend, and because we've all been through that.
Yeah,
we've all had a friend was like, oh, we're going to this party, and this is how you're going to dress, and this dude likes you, and you better do this. Blah blah blah, whatever, right?
Or been on vacation with those people.
We've had people that think that we should think or carry ourselves the way they do because we're friends and da.
Yeah.
But if we put that on them, our power play can't work with them. But they want their power play to work with us.
That's
right?
true.
And so that dynamic.
Do you think that there's always like a dominant and submissive even in friendships?
No,
like someone
I don't think there's always a dominant and submissive. I would want to think they're friends that are better at certain things than other things, and then they have, they share that, right? So let's say,
in certain things. I was just thinking about my friend dynamics, and I think that's the same. Like people have their expertise in their lanes that they operate in and are dominant in, and can lead and give the advice and all of that.
And you welcome that because that's why you're
their
there.
domain. That's why you're friends.
That's why you're friends. They love something about you. You love something about them.
Yes, we are here for friendships that add value.
Yes. And let you add value.
Yes.
They can't just be like, well, I'm the, the leader. Follow the leader. Okay.
That was like elementary school or something like that. That's how a lot of these friendships start.
Okay, so as for friendships, I really think, not only just women, I don't know if men have this issue, but
I feel like guys just hang out.
I don't think there's there's ever really.
I don't think that's the same attachment that women have. Like the claim, I think women are more territorial. I think women and male friendships have a completely different dynamic. I think a lot of male friendships are more like the friendships that we like, where it's kind of a little bit distant. We're not like attached and have to think about the other person all the time, and if they're gonna get upset by this or that.
And if it's anything, otherwise it's like when they're in high school or if they're part of like a group right of people, like let's say in college, and they have like sororities and this and that, and there's an alpha and da da da, and everybody has to so in that case, but that's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about just friendships between women that, like you said, women like us who are doing a lot of things, right? Especially having a family.
Yes.
That's number one. You really can't, always be like, okay,
be there to drop everything.
Gossip on the phone and all of this and all of that, the things that you used to do in high school. You can't do that when you have a family. You have a husband now, and talking to him is is actually gonna put you, that's your priority. Put your family in a good place and this and that. So yes, it's great to have friendships that add to you and whatnot, but it's not supposed to hold you back because you're going to keep growing no matter what, since you have other important people in your life, like your children who teach you and your spouses, right? And so, but when I look at the friendships that don't necessarily have those things, and they were supposed to be like girlfriends and whatnot, I guess what I was looking at from that, and I wanted to say, is that we definitely should try and realize that we may be having these attachment issues that are not necessarily real, where you're labeling and then you keep someone from growing if you're having these attachment issues. And one thing I want to leave with is something I learned yesterday. I'm into I told you, I'm into my spiritual stuff, and I was watching these tarot card readings on YouTube, right? And it was actually about Scorpios, because obviously that's what I would look at. And the guy was saying that you're no longer addicted to attachments, right? And that hit me, because that's a big deal when it comes to friendship also, right? You have these people that are in your life, and they you love them, right? You love them, right? And the things that go along with that concept of you or not the concept of love, but the concept of friendship and that you guys are that close is all of these things that you make up that you're supposed to, like all these things, and you're supposed to treat each other this way, and you're supposed to, you're supposed to be doing all of this, and you look at this person like they're this and they're that, right? And that's actually what you get addicted to, that concept, that attachment to people, or to things. I guess it could be things, but we're talking about people. Yeah. And I've come to a place where I'm not looking for that, that thing. Yeah, I'm actually okay with, like you said, you're okay with not being attached in that way. Yes. You said you're not really that attached. You're okay with that. Yeah. It's not something that,
that I'm seeking out or missing in my life. Right.
So pretty much there's no problem, there's no issue not having, like, to me, not having like a super close friendship unless it gets there naturally.
Well, it's so good that you're saying this, because even now, you mentioned you're single, right? So a lot of people say, like, okay, they're not attached, or you lose your friends when you're married, but then if you break up with your boyfriend or your husband or what have you, then you're running back to your friends and all of that. But you, even as a single person, have the same, like, it is to some degree about demeanor and personality and what you need in your life in this moment, and not necessarily about needing someone to be attached to at all times.
Right. So what you're saying is that being single,
like, a lot of people
taught you how to be not really needing attachment.
Attachment. I'm saying it's refreshing to hear you say that, because a lot of times when people are single, they find friendships to attach to. Yes. So it's a unique perspective to have someone who's single who also does not need attachments in the form of female friendships as well.
No, because from me,
so who are you attached to?
From what I'm speaking from, and I'm going to keep this short, is that, when you find someone that is like, oh my God, I spend time with them and I love it. Like, we, I like this person so much. It's almost like you don't think you're going to find someone else like that. Yes. You know what I mean? Yes. So you, like, grab on and hold on. Yes. And then you get delusional from all the other stuff, right? There could be little bad things in there, but you're like, you're like, oh, blah, 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 right? Because you like that attachment, or that attachment is the drug. Yes. And so that's not real. You kind of have to.
Now that's a good way to put the illusion.
Yeah.
Now I can see that very clearly.
And what I could, I guess, what I could connect the ladies in the film, the ladies in the podcast, and the attachment is that is the addiction. Having a friend that you could say is your girl. Yeah. She got your back. She gonna beat somebody, for you. Yeah. Or she's always. But that's also an illusion. She may not. You know what I mean? She may not. She may or may not, depending on what's going on with her. But the concept of that is the attachment. Yeah. And you get addicted to that type of attachment, just like the ride or die effect and all of that stuff.
It's equivalent to, like, relationships when you get attached in relationships.
Yes.
And it's the same thing, but just in friendship.
And just in friendships. Right. But it has to be healthy.
It has to be.
It has to be
Absolutely.
healthy.
But I've never thought about it with friendships. So I'm glad we talked about that, because now I'm thinking.
And we're going to talk about friendships some more. I'm sure there's more stuff, because like you said, you would love to have a female friendship that is deeper than just, whatever. No,
and I have a good friend. I have a few good friends that are deeper, and one in particular that I talk to about a lot of things, but still there is a healthy distance. And I think part of it is because we're grown and we don't have that attachment.
That's fine.
But I think that's fine.
That's fine. Well, this was fun.
I hope you all enjoyed it.
I sure did.
I did too.
I sure did.
This is our normal.
I know. This is like our normal conversations. Yes. This is our normal conversations. And we come up with things all the time, but I'm happy that we got to touch on the leveling up process and what it takes, all these different things that we hit on, our friendships, the way we look at ourselves,
the way
you know,
we
our
show
purpose,
up in different
you know,
spaces.
and the fact that we can do all of these things and show up where we are, where we want to show up in all these spaces as that person. No matter what hat we have on, we're still that person who has all these things that we can offer, and just to ourselves. You know, it has to do with us.
Absolutely.
Because we know we give it to others,
yeah,
but to ourselves. And I'm definitely feeling great that I did this. And thank you.
I'm glad you feel great too. I feel amazing as well.
Yay.
So thank you for having me, and likewise, it's been great company and great conversation.
Yes, I have to name my show now.
Yes,
you know, I'll figure it out.
Yes.
But thank you guys for watching. Monique will definitely have this in some part of her outlets. And myself, like I told you before, I will have this on YouTube, and we'll have more conversations. I have so many things that I want to talk about, but like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Absolutely. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.